Look, I'm not some troublemaker. I pay my bills, scoop up stray ladybugs from my windowsills, and even sort my recycling when I'm not too lazy. But there's this one sound, imagine a fork scraping a plate in hell, that can turn a chill graphic designer like me into, well, someone who bolts a loudspeaker to a drone to mess with the Homeowners Association queen. Welcome to my war with a broken siren and the woman who called it heritage. It was a quiet Wednesday morning in Maple Grove, a sleepy suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina. The sun was out, birds were doing their thing, and I was trying to focus on a logo design. Then it hit. Saw. Not a full-on tornado siren, but a whiny, piercing screech like a smoke alarm with a grudge. For weeks, this ancient relic from some 1950s fallout shelter drill had been wailing, supposedly deactivated but loud enough to make me want to chuck my laptop out the window. I work from home, and this noise was shredding my sanity. The culprit? Clara, our HOA president, a woman who could spot an unapproved mailbox from a mile away, but somehow thought this siren was a quaint nod to Maple Grove's history. She'd said that to my face, right after finding Mrs. Larson for her overly festive porch pumpkins. I'd had enough. Clara was about to meet the real meth guy who'd run out of patience. It started innocently enough, or as innocent as 3 months of auditory torture can be. The siren kicked off its death rattle back in spring. A few days in, I thought, okay, just a glitch. Saw a week later, my eye was twitching. 2 weeks, my succulents looked depressed. By month 2, I was debating life choices with my toaster, and it was winning. I called the city. Not a problem, sir. That's HOA property, they said, like I just asked them to mow my lawn. I emailed the HOA. Their first reply was a cheery auto-response. Your concern matters. The follow-up, a week later, was worse. Dear Mr. Carter, we're aware of the neighborhood's audible charm. It's being addressed with utmost care. Sincerely, the board. Saw audible charm? So I was like calling a jackhammer a lullaby. Then I saw Clara in action, measuring Mr. Larson's hedges with a ruler while the siren screeched in the background. Mr. Carter, right? She said, barely glancing up. Some folks find the siren nostalgic. Besides, it's technically off, not at full volume. I stared, dumbfounded. Clara, it sounds like a dying robot. It's killing my work. My clients think I live in a haunted junkyard. She gave me that HOA glare, the kind that could wilt a cactus. It's a tricky matter, Mr. Carter. We have protocols. Frankly, some of us are busy with real issues, like unauthorized lawn decor. She gestured at a neighbor's slightly tacky bird feeder. It's on the list, she added, which I'm pretty sure meant never. The official channels were a joke. More emails, more calls, more voicemails lost to the void. I even dragged myself to an HOA meeting where the siren got a 20-second mention before Clara shut it down with. It's under REVYEW. We can't rush history. History? The only history being made was my blood pressure hitting new peaks. The breaking point came on a Saturday. Clara was in full dictator mode, lecturing Mr. Larson about his tiny fishing gnome, Norman, who sat harmlessly by a flower bed. The siren wailed, underscoring her rant about aesthetic violations. I couldn't hold back. Clara, I said, strolling over, my voice deceptively calm. With all due respect, that gnome's less of a problem than the siren you keep ignoring. She spun around, eyes like lasers. Mr. Carter, this is an official HOA issue. That siren is a community treasure. It keeps out riffraff. It's keeping out my sanity. I shot back louder than planned. It's been months. My dog's got anxiety now. When are you going to fix it instead of harassing people over garden gnomes? She smirked a smug, soul-crushing smirk. Maybe if you worried less about the siren and more about, say, your slightly off-color shutters, we'd all get along better. Perhaps you're just ovus and see. Saw that word lit a fuse. Something in me didn't just snap, it exploded quietly, like a balloon popping in a silent room. I didn't say another word. I just walked home, Clara's smug voice fading behind me. In my garage, my gaze landed on my trusty drone, a hobby purchase for snapping skyline photos. Then I remembered the mini loudspeaker I'd bought on a whim, thinking it'd be funny to narrate squirrels or something. Saw oversensitive, huh? So I muttered to the drone, "Let's see how Clara likes a taste of her own community treasure." A wicked grin spread across my face, one that'd probably scare Norman the Gnome. Operation Annoy Clara was born. Rule 1, don't get caught. Rule 2, keep it legal, no damage, no threats. Rule 3, make it saw infuriating saw, especially for Clara. My home office turned into a war room. Drone batteries charged, laptop humming with audio files. I tested the speaker. Testing 1, 2. Clara, your roses are wilting. Crystal clear, even from afar. I picked my weapons, vuvuzelas, off-key bagpipes, a goat bleeding out of tune, and my favorite 10-second clip of a kid butchering a violin. Nothing crude, just brain-meltingly annoying. The first strike was set for Clara's Sunday book club brunch, a prim affair on her flawless lawn. The siren saw pro vy dead, the perfect backdrop. From my upstairs window, binoculars in hand, I launched the drone, keeping it high and discreet. I positioned it over her garden, where she and her pals sipped chamomile and judged everyone's window treatments. Then, a 10-second burst of that screechy violin. Silence below, just teacups clinking. Then a quick blast of goat screams. Pandemonium. Clara jumped up, tea splashing her perfect tablecloth, arms vying like she was swatting a hornet. "What in heaven's name is that?" she shrieked, pointing at the sky. Her book club looked like they'd seen Norman come to life and demand their scones. I nearly choked laughing. Saw better than I dreamed. Sal. Clara was at my door in under an hour, face redder than her prize azaleas. "Carter," she bellowed as I opened the door. "I know it was you in that flying menace." I leaned casually against the frame, feigning confusion. "Clara, you okay? You seem rattled. That siren really gets to you, doesn't it?" I couldn't resist. Her eyes bulged. "Don't play innocent. Those noises from the sky, it's your drone." "A drone?" I said, eyes wide. "Clara, I was on a client call. Though, gotta say, that siren made it tough to hear my deadlines." She sputtered, a glorious mix of rage and disbelief. "This is harassment. I'm reporting you." "Harassment?" I mused. "The only harassment I know is that siren torturing us 24/7. Checked its decibels lately." She stormed off, muttering about rules and the downfall of CIVY Lighty. I gave myself a quiet high five. "Round 1, mine." Of course, she called the cops. 2 officers showed up: Grayson, a tired veteran who'd probably refereed one too many mailbox disputes, and Torres, a rookie still alive VYing in neighborhood harmony. Clara hovered across the street, pointing at my house like I was hiding a missile silo. "This is a new one," Grayson sighed, stepping inside. I played dumb, but I was ready. I showed them my stack of siren complaints and played a recording of its wail. Grayson winced. "Yeah, that's something." Torres looked uneasy. "Mr. Carter, we got a complaint about a drone making noises." "Satanic howling," she said. I coughed to hide a grin. "Satanic howling? Haven't heard that, but something's definitely disturbing the peace." I nodded toward the siren's direction. Grayson cut in. "Look, that siren's a nightmare, but blasting weird sound from a drone isn't cool either. Just be a good neighbor." They warned me about drone laws and left, giving Clara a look that said they thought she was unhinged. I needed a smarter plan. Proof the siren was a hazard. Enter Tom, a contractor recommended by a coworker. Tom was a wiry guy in his 50s, with a tool belt that looked battle-scarred. We met at the Siren Tower, a rusty eyesore on HOA land near Clara's precious garden. The siren wailed as Tom squinted at it. "Yup, she's a screecher. Old model. Shouldn't be making noise at all." I explained Clara's heritage nonsense. He chuckled. "Heritage, huh? Let's see what's wrong. I'll write it up nice and scary imminent meltdown stuff to wave at her." I grinned. "Exactly. Maybe toss in a repair cost to shut it down for good." Just as Tom set up his ladder, Clara appeared, clipboard in hand, like she'd teleported. "What's this?" she demanded. "You can't touch HOA property." I kept my cool. "Clara, this is Tom, a licensed technician. I'm paying him to check the siren since the HOA's monitoring isn't cutting it. For safety, you know." Tom tipped an imaginary hat. "Just a quick look, ma'am. Wouldn't want this thing ruining your lovely neighborhood." Clara turned purple. This is vandalism. I'm calling the police. They know you well, don't they? I muttered. Tom just climbed the ladder, ignoring her as she furiously dialed. I realized I needed backup. I started talking to neighbors, and surprise Clara's reign annoyed everyone. Lisa, a work-from-home mom down the street, had been logging the siren's noise on her baby monitor, complete with decibel readings. She threatened to fine me over my wind chimes, Lisa whispered. But this siren? Heritage. Then there was Ethan, a 16-year-old tech, was across the street. He thought Clara was peak Karen and lit up when I hinted at my drone antics. In his parents' garage, he showed me a soundboard app. Dude, we could make it sound like a ghost ice cream truck when she's meditating. Or bad opera during her weird yoga. Ethan was a mad genius. I liked Ethan. With Ethan's help, the drone became a psychological warfare machine. We ditched random noises for targeted chaos. A dentist drilled during Clara's naps, a mosquito buzzed by her ear while she read, a cuckoo clock chiming randomly. Ethan even pulled audio from an HOA meeting Lisa secretly recorded, twisting Clara's "This is unacceptable" into a creepy whisper played softly while she gardened. This isn't just a noise fight, Ethan said, grinning. It's art. Clara was unraveling, and we were her reluctant muse. She called an emergency HOA meeting to address threats to our harmony. The community center was grim flickering lights, stale coffee, untouched cookies. About 20 neighbors showed up, some annoyed, some curious. Lisa gave me a nervous nod. Ethan lounged in the back, smirking. Clara took the podium, banging a tiny gavel like a dictator. Settle down, she barked, looking frazzled. She had blurry photos of suspicious aerial objects, maybe my drone, maybe a fat pigeon, and ranted about rogue tech and disrespectful rebels. Her glares at me were Oscar-worthy. This aerial terrorism will not stand, she declared, voice shaking. Certain people think they're above the law. I stood, holding Tom's report. Clara, thank for the drama. While we're talking terrorism, here's a professional take on the siren. I wave the paper. It's corroded, chewed by rats, and a fire hazard. Repair au replacement, ou la 5,000. Recommendation. Shut it down now to avoid unrelenting auditory torture or, fire. Murmurs spread. I pulled out Lisa's noise log. Here's 97 days of the siren's noise, with decibels way over legal limits. So, Clara, maybe the real threat to harmony is the HOA ignoring this while we all suffer. The room buzzed. Mr. Grover, a bylaw nerd, chimed in, Section 4, Clara, historical de VYCES must be maintained or deactivated. You wrote that rule. Lisa shared her decibel data, trembling but firm. Another neighbor said the siren spooked his cats. It was a rebellion, and it felt saw good saw. Clara, panicking, played her last card. She grabbed her phone and shrieked, Officers! It's an emergency! They're staging a coup. Carter's got a weaponized drone. Officers Grayson and Torres arrived, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Grayson sighed, taking in Clara's wild eyes and my calm stack of EVY Denke. All right, folks, indoor voices, he said, exhausted. Clara, what's the emergency? More howling. She pointed at me. He's overthrowing the HOA. He's got proof. I handed Grayson the report. Just showing the siren's a hazard. Officer. Ignored for months. Note the fire risk. Torres read it, eyebrows rising. Ma'am, this is HOA property, right? You're in charge of it. Then Tom, who'd been watching like it was a reality show, stepped up. Officers, I checked county records. That siren's power box is on a sliver of Clara's land. She signed an easement years ago, but when the HOA dropped maintenance to save cash, she became fully liable for it. He grinned. So, she's been responsible for this noisy mess the whole time. The room went dead, silent, the sweetest sound in months. Clara's face cycled through red, green, and ghostly pale. She looked ready to faint. The fallout was epic. The cops hit Clara with a violation notice for noise and safety hazards, with daily fines until fixed. The HOA board started whispering about ousting her. A few days later, a new contractor Hank showed up with bolt cutters and a cherry picker. In under an hour, he killed the siren. The silence was heavenly birds, a distant lawnmower, peace. Hank caught my eye from my porch, wiping his hands. "Heard you had quite the noise fest," he said, smirking, happy to shut it down. "You're a hero, Hank," I said, meaning it. Clara lost the HOA presidency in a landslide. The siren was scrapped. Norman the gnome fished on in Mr. Larson's yard, prouder than ever. I saw Clara walking her schnauzer a week later. She looked deflated. Catching my eye, she gave a stiff not surrender, maybe? Or maybe she was planning to nitpick my fence paint. Either way, I was ready. In my garage, I looked at my drone, back to being just a photo tool. I didn't set out to be a suburban renegade. I just wanted quiet. But when you're stuck with a tyrant like Clara and a siren from hell, sometimes you fight noise with noise from 200 feet up. And you know what? I regret nothing. Ethan texted me. "New app. Bro, tiny holograms of Clara's glare in her garden. You in?" I laughed. "Maybe later. For now, the silence was pure gold." So what do you think? Was I a hero for taking on Clara's noise nightmare? Or a petty jerk with a drone? Should HOAs have this much power? Or are they just Karens with clipboards? And how far would you saw go to shut down a noise DRIVYing you nuts? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood sagas. Let's hear it.